Hi David Douglas employees, I'm Erica Zobel from the Occupational Therapy Department, and today I'm going to lead you through a short yoga series to help activate the vestibular system. So the first exercise we're going to do to get our bodies warmed up is we're going to do some hip circles from a seated position. So if you have a couple of blocks, you can take those and put them in the middle of your mat or the middle of your space and go ahead and have a seat there. If you don't have blocks, you can use some books or a small stool, and just come to a nice comfortable seated position with your hips above your knees. Go ahead and rest your hands, palms down on your knees. Take in a nice deep slow breath, and then just lean your chest forward, hinging just from the hips, and then bring your chest to the side and back and to the other side and forward. Just working through a few rounds of hip circles here, really feeling the movement in the creases of your hips, and then go ahead and come back in the opposite direction. Just breathing in time with what feels right for you. And then after your last circle here, coming back to center, come back up, sitting upright, and let's go ahead and change the cross of the legs. So bringing your opposite leg in front, and let's do that again. So leaning forward and to the side and back, and we'll do 3 circles here. Just nice and slow, not pressing into anything that doesn't feel comfortable, and then back the opposite direction 3 times. Great. So coming just to a neutral seat here, we're going to remove the blocks for our second pose. So for our second pose, we're going to come down and seated in the middle of our mat, trying to get your sit bones connected to the surface below you. Go ahead and bring your hands behind your knees and see if you can't lift your chest towards the ceiling as you gently rock back onto your sit bones. You can be here in boat pose, or you can extend your legs long. You can extend your arms out here. Whatever feels the most comfortable for you, the best position. You can also do it here with your feet on the ground, just kind of leaning back a little bit, opening the chest up towards the ceiling. Let's hold here for 3 rounds of breath. And then we're going to invite a little bit of movement into this pose. So see if you can maybe gently rock back and forth, coming down onto your back up into the boat pose, down onto your back. And then on our third time, we're going to transfer over onto hands and knees to come into tabletop. So here, from tabletop position, press your hands down into the mat. Have your knees underneath your hips. We're going to work through some series of cat and cow. So dropping your belly down towards the ground, raising the crown of your head up towards the ceiling as you inhale. And then as you exhale, tuck your tailbone under, bring your chin down towards your chest. And then go ahead and do that 2 more times. Inhaling, raising the crown of your head up, bringing your tailbone up behind you, dropping your belly down. And then as you exhale, hollowing the belly out, broadening through the shoulders, dropping the crown of the head down. And 1 more time, breathing in. And exhale. And then from here, coming back to a neutral position, see if you can extend your legs long behind you, pressing with the heels towards the wall behind you. You can be here on your toes or here on your knees, as we're going to lower ourselves down into chaturanga, and then drop your belly to the ground, point your toes, lift the crown of your head up towards the ceiling, keeping your hands underneath your shoulders. Inhaling here for 3 rounds of breath. then go ahead and press yourself up into that tabletop position and bring your hips back over your heels as you press down into child's pose. You can rest your head on the mat, or you can cross your hands and rest your forehead on your hands, or you can rest your head on your mat. And then from here, we're going to extend the arms out in front of us again, coming back up into that tabletop position. So from tabletop position, tuck your toes underneath. We're going to lift our hips and come back up into a downward facing dog. So pressing your hands down into the mat, lifting your knees up, lift your hips up towards the ceiling, up towards the sky, pressing your hands down in front of you, nice strength through the arms, reaching the heels down towards the mat behind you. Maybe it feels comfortable to bend and straighten one leg at a time here. And then when you're ready, maybe you can just find some stillness here and take 3 deep inhales in time with what feels right for your breath. Feeling broadening through the back shoulder blades behind you. And then after your third breath, coming back down to tabletop briefly, and then pressing yourself back into child's pose again. And you can have your arms extended long in front of you, if that feels comfortable, or crossing your hands underneath your forehead. Resting here for a couple rounds of breath. And then we're going to come up into our final pose. Coming up. So now we're going to come up into camel pose. So go ahead and with your hands on your knees or on your hips, come up so you're standing on your knees. Can you tuck your toes behind you so that your feet are flexed? And you can have your hands here on your hips, or maybe you can walk your hands around behind the small of your back, bringing the elbows towards one another. This is a good chest opener. And then to get that vestibular input, we're going to raise our gaze towards the ceiling. So really arching through the back, never going beyond what feels comfortable for your body, knowing what our own individual limits are. For some people that have maybe been practicing longer, you might want to bring your hands down onto your heels if that feels comfortable for you. And for some of us, we might be up here, which is totally fine. So after one more round of breath, go ahead and untuck your toes. Come back down into child's pose one more time. Feeling your heart rate slow here. So you try to relax a little bit. And then get yourself into a position lying on your back, in the middle of the mat. And this is the final pose, coming into corpse pose, Shavasana, with your palms up if that feels comfortable, your feet out, just relaxing every muscle in your body. Maybe roll the head out a little bit, rolling the head from side to side. If you feel comfortable closing your eyes, you can do so, and just really start to lengthen and deepen your breath. And you can stay here as long as it feels comfortable for you. Thank you for joining me today in this vestibular activating yoga class. I hope you enjoyed it. He's a heavy breather.